this series, we normally condone players and teams who are down and out going for objectives and or trades with the opponent in order to gain some advantage on the map and a way back into a game. Now, obviously, with objectives, there's two main ways of doing this, and of which it requires two objectives to be on the map. Number one, you can essentially use pre-existing vision or your blue trinkets to see which objective has more enemies on, and whichever side has more enemies on, you don't go to, you go to the other objective, and if you have to force enemies off of it, by all means do so, else you get the objective quite freely, and the opposition will try and probably contest you once they see this happening. This is essentially you claiming a less valuable prize to the opposition, and then gaining, well, you can, if you say the opposition go for soul, take that, and you get Baron, you technically have a power play, while the enemies have to sit back, and that gets you gold back into the game, and the enemies realistically cannot trade with you while you have this temporary buff. But obviously you give up that permanent buff to the enemy team, and they get a bit more freedom across the map in that sense. The other one is the slightly more risky and more, we want to fight you all across the rift, baby. And in essence, you beeline head first into an objective that is spawning, take it as soon as possible, and that's basically what we're seeing in this matchup. Schalke have rushed for this Mountain Drake, thinking that they can take this objective freely, as they expect the Misfits to go over to the Baron and secure some vision around the objective, as the two teams have just scrapped around that part of the map, and SO4 could quite easily return to the scene of the crime and start up the Purple Worm. However, Misfits have sniffed out Schalke's play, and in essence, SO4 are trying to burn down the Drake as quick as possible, and by the way, this Drake is pretty meaningless as either team are nowhere near soul point, and in fact they're both going for their second Drake in this point of the game. As such, what we end up seeing is Misfits wanting to fight. They want to wipe the floor with Schalke so that they can head on over to the big purple worm, push in and win this game. So I want you to focus in on Vander and his nonchalant movement, as it really hits home on how far ahead Misfits are in this game. He blast cones over into the river, headbutts on the Lilia to keep her off the bunny's jungler, who is going in to steal the Drake, and this is huge because it means that the lilting lullaby cannot come out onto the Volibear, and he gets to just come on straight into the pit. What's more, Limit gets absolutely baited and outsmarted, as his grand entrance is duped hard by Vander and Razork, who are now inside the pit. And when the Mega Frontline CC Abominations are on that spot of, hey, we can take this objective from you, you know what's going to happen. They're going to use their tools of lockup onto the enemy jungler, and let's just say the Drake no longer belongs to the German squad, as Vander uses his last breath to pulverize Lilia, along with the flash, bear, slap to keep the CC chain going. And alongside some misfortune, no, not that misfortune, the Drake resets, and when it comes back, obviously you get that little gust of air, and that pushes Lilia even further back, and Volley just has an easy time pressing that smite key. So, as the Drake gets smited and stolen by the Volibear, it's now time for the Bundesliga 2 squad to get up and run, save what they can to contest the Baron. But they are having a weak season and their souls are scattered by VTO, locking Bambi down even more and allowing Tristana to pop the foal, who had no way of getting out, in which is, in my opinion, a mistake, because the Scatter Week also locked down the Rakan. Rakan obviously has tools to escape with his E, with his W, and as such, if you focus down the Rakan, instead of the foal who has no flash, you're gonna get 2 kills for the price of 1, baby. But when the enemy jungler is taken out and Baron is up, it's very easy for the bunnies to head towards that objective. And what's more, a juicy target of the Aurelia gets isolated from the rest of her team, and she runs straight into the Sky Splitter of the Volibear and gets slowed down, and the Blade Dancer cannot twist and jive out of the 4-man Misfit squad who come to lock her down, and Triss gets the second kill of the fight as Misfits turn to the Baron, and then they secured the victory, relegating Schalke out of playoff contention. And with that all said and done, we can finally end the episode off here after some pretty sad displays from Schalke recently. We could be seeing some changes coming into next week's action, and as such, I would like to bid you all adieu. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're not here. If you want to, be sure to check out my second channel. Daily Pokemon content is going up there when there isn't content on this channel, and I will be playing Pokemon Unite soon, so there's that for content. And as such, I will see you guys next time for our predictions for the upcoming weekend's games. Peace out.